It's your smooth breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It's an amazing, awesome, fantabulous Thursday evening. My name is Ayokunmi. Welcome along to Business Express, where we get to talk about business stories and what's going on the business scene in Nigeria and, of course, across the entire world. And this morning will be no different because we're talking about the ongoing fuel scarcity that's been going on in Nigeria in the last couple of weeks that doesn't seem to want to go away. We'll be looking at the fuel scarcity and, of course, NNPC's 2023 earnings. You can be part of the conversation this morning by sharing your thoughts with us on WhatsApp. The number is 0809 440 981. 0809 440 981. That is the WhatsApp number. You can also join us on YouTube or streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Yes, yes, yes. Those are the ways you can join the conversation this morning. So joining me to talk about this and break it all down is David Gwatau. He is an investment research analyst at ARM Securities. Very good morning to you, David. Great to have you on Business Express.
Good morning to you too. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so straight into the heart of the matter, fuel scarcity. Now, before we got on, I had asked you if you had fuel beforehand, and of course, your answer was a resounding no. And a number of people out there are in the same WhatsApp group. But looking at the scarcity that's gripping Nigeria at the moment, can we blame this on hoarding by marketers, or is there something else at play here?
So I mean, just going by what we've heard from the oil marketers in recent times, right? So the Independent Petroleum Marketers of Nigeria Association, right, have revealed that the NNPC no longer supply crude oil products. They don't supply petroleum products to them anymore. And apparently, this has been going on for about 3 years. So apparently it's not a marketer's problem. The marketers do not actually have access. They claim that they have to buy at premium prices from other private depots. So I feel it's actually not a marketer's problem at this point. Marketers are probably not holding, but it's a supply issue. There is actually no supply of petroleum products within the country.
The ridiculousness of that. I mean, we can dive into that particular aspect of things and talk about it for every single day and even twice on Sundays.
So,
But that is going to be something for a later date. Let's speak to the productivity impact that it has on citizens right now. I mean, from where you are sitting, from your experiences, what exactly can you say about that? Because these have been trying times for a lot of people in terms of getting things done, getting around. I
of
mean, the
course,
cost of transportation alone is
of course,
crippling at the moment. What are your
yes.
thoughts?
I mean, it's a very it's a dire situation for every Nigerian. I mean, uh, for transport workers, or for you who works in manufacturing or any form of production, right? Or for just you who goes to the office on a daily basis, you have to go get fuel for your car. You have to
Mm,
spend so much time in traffic. I mean, it is really telling on on our productivity. You cannot spend half your day in a fuel station and expect to get things done. I mean, all the
right,
time you should have
right.
used for more productive activity during the day, you have spent it at a fuel station, or you do not. You have to spend all the time when you're meant to be your production time trying to get just basic petrol or diesel just to service you to do your work. So I mean, it's obvious that it tells on our productivity as a country, and obviously, just as you would expect, Nigeria cannot go further. Always talking about moving from production to from consumption to production. We
Mhm.
cannot make that move if we do not, sort out our energy problems in this country. It's very critical.
Indeed, it is very critical. And just to piggyback off your comment about people spending half their day on fuel queues and all that. I mean, in recent times, people have been spending upwards of 6, 7 hours on a fuel queue to actually get petrol. And some people are actually unfortunate after spending all that time, probably to get to the pump or close to the pump, and then they hear, sorry, we're not starting again, or we're out of fuel. I mean, that would be such a waste of that person's day. It's one thing to spend all that time to get the product, but spending that time to not get the product eventually, I wouldn't want to be in that sort of person's shoes at all. But
For real.
anyways, David, let's play hypotheticals here. Now, if fuel subsidies were removed completely, absolutely 110%, and we just allowed market forces to determine the price, would we have less scarcity?
Well, not essentially, not essentially.
Okay.
Well, because as I said, it's a supply issue. So, and the supply really does not affect the price without demand. So essentially what I'm trying to say is if if the first subsidies are taken off completely, however, the supply, continues as lackadaisical as it is right now, we will still have severe scarcity. For example, right, we can look at the diesel prices. Diesel prices are unsubsidized, right? But diesel is
Mm,
not available even as it is, right? We don't have consistent supply of diesel either. So it's the price right at the market right now, and you have to think it's not a supply. It's not a supply. Um, it has nothing to do essentially with the demand, but it's the supply issue, right?
right. Okay. Now, talking about this supply issue, which we've established right now, how exactly do we solve it?
So I mean, the onus is on the NNPC, to be honest. Uh, so NNPC basically control the bulk of importation of petroleum products to the country.
Mm,
Whatever are their whatever is limiting, because I think last time NNPC made any comments, they had blamed this scarcity on the transfer of products from mother vessels to other daughter vessels to smaller vessels,
mm,
essentially, to that will carry them into the docks. And they blamed it because they said, okay, this was a result of thunderstorms and other weather disadvantages that had hindered all these processes. Well, I don't know if that's what's still at play right now, to be about being frank, but supply is actually an NNPC thing. NNPC should be able to make sure that there is adequate supply of petrol within the country.
right, right, right. So now let's still talking about prices here because we mentioned price a number of times during this conversation, and we know that if subsidies are removed, we're looking at higher prices. Now, can Nigerians possibly adjust over time to those prices if the subsidies are taken out of the equation?
Well, yes, I believe that Nigerians can adjust. I mean, generally, across the world, uh, gasoline prices, petrol prices generally, right, as is commonly called in local parlance, petrol prices are generally high. So just taking a direct exchange, a direct conversion from what petrol prices in the US is, petrol prices in the US is about $0.9.
Okay,
That's
that's
about
about
nine cents.
9 cents to the liter.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
And that's just short of 1 cent short of the dollar, right? The dollar to naira exchange rate now is 1,600. So
right.
essentially, it simply means that the global cost of petrol is about $1, which translates to 1,600 naira in Nigerian currency, right?
Mm,
So already it's obvious that we are getting petrol at a way cheaper price, very, very much subsidized price. It won't be cheaper if subsidies are removed, of course. Nigeria will get used to it, and obviously, as exchange rates, improves, as the naira continues to appreciate, it will seem like some form of, relief, right? Yeah, so
Right.
that's my take on that.
All right. So now let's talk about the NNPCL. We got the audited financials. What did you make of those numbers?
Oh, thank you. That was actually an interesting one because this is the first time that the NNPCL are making public their financial statements as such. Normally they just give a summary. Okay, we made this, we made that, but now this first time we're actually getting to deep dive into it and look at the financial statements for ourselves. And I mean, it was interesting. I mean, although they can only cross check it across the 2023 numbers across the 2022 numbers because
Mm,
it's just based on what has been released. But I mean, yes, it's still interesting. We saw some interesting things. We saw how revenue had more than doubled. I think revenue grew by about 172% to reach about 23.9 trillion. That's coming from about 8.8 trillion. I mean, the question is, okay, what are NNPC doing? We can allude that to elevated crude oil prices, right? That's
mm,
that's, that's something that has been happening. We can also uh, so yeah, I mean basically that's probably what has driven the price increase in terms of the quantity of production. Well,
okay.
I mean NNPC are now turning in. I mean they say 1.6 million barrels per day is the production level. So apparently, and I think the Minister of Finance had mentioned 1.7 million barrels at some point. you know,
Mm,
it shows that okay, oil production has actually gone up. So we should actually expect this kind of this elevated growth in revenue, and we can see how it also goes across cuts across other line items. We also see how the inflation in the country, the high costs, has also affected the NNPC operations. We've seen very high surges in their operating expenses. We see selling and distribution costs surged by 234%,
right,
right?
right, right.
Administrative costs is surging by 480%. All this I would allude to the inflationary environment, the high costs in the country. But overall, the company turned in also an elevated profits, growing by also turned in elevated profits, growing by uh 31%, right? Growing by
Okay, okay.
31% year on year. And I think that's actually fair. That's a good one, you know. But I'll say this report should have been released earlier, for a company that wants to list, right? A company that is about to go for an IPO. Um, because for now, these numbers we're just looking at numbers and okay, they are okay, but it's not relevant to the market anymore. But
Mm,
also looking at other things that we could also point towards. He also disclosed a couple of things as regards subsidies, right? There are a lot of questions going around subsidy. Is the government really paying subsidy? Is the government not paying subsidy? But I think this financial statement, based on what we've seen here, it actually corroborates the story that the NNPCL directors are telling when they said that the government are not paying subsidies. However, the landing cost is can differ from the market price, right? Because so in the end, NNPC are taking losses, right?
mm,
To,
right,
to, to
right.
sell to sell petrol at cheaper prices,
Mm,
essentially.
all
So
right.
yeah, it's quite interesting.
Quite interesting times ahead. Thank you for that, David. Now, on a final note, in about 30 seconds or thereabouts, I know that you are not a soothsayer. You don't have a crystal ball hidden somewhere, but talking about this current fuel scarcity, will there be any relief anytime soon?
Hmm. Well, would there be any relief? It's as I said, I think before we jumped on the call, right? It's been the trend. There'll be scarcity for a while, and then we'll see some relief. But then it's not going to last forever. It will still come back again, And that just, it all boils down to the inconsistencies and bottlenecks that we are facing. NNPC is not consistent in supply, apparently. I mean, and this has been confirmed by oil marketers. The only way to ensure that there's consistent supply, that there's consistent petroleum product supply, in my view, is to harness the value that we can get from our local refineries. It's that
Okay.
that's the most important thing. We need to harness the value we can get from our local refineries. What is the government doing with all four government-owned refineries? What's the stories? We heard Port Harcourt refinery is coming up, but it's been quiet for days now. What's happening with that, right? Now they have postponed the supply of crude oil to Dangote refinery, which means Dangote refinery will still have to import. I mean, for now, at least to meet their current capacity feedstock.
Hmm.
We really need. I mean, we really need to do something about local refineries.
Something really needs to be done. We need to catch a break at some point in time. Thank you so much, David Gwatau, for joining me this morning. He's an investment research analyst at ARM Securities. It's been a pleasure having you on Business Express this morning.
It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day and a great morning ahead. And keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1. There's more great music for you as we get ready to head into the papers at 7:30 on Freshly Pressed. Don't go anywhere.